Next topic. As I bring up my notes, and my notes is Wikipedia, because I don't want to mispronounce any, I don't want to miss any actors or anything like that. I knew this past weekend the Batman was coming out. I had been pretty low-key excited about Batman, even with the announcement of Robert Pattinson, because despite him being Edward Cullen, and yes, I've watched all of the Twilight movies now, and they're fine, he has a lot of great acting chops to his name. So knowing they were going to continue forward with Matt Reeves' original direction as the director, because this was originally going to be the Batfleck movie, the Batfleck solo movie, and then he backed out a few years ago, dropped out of the role, and dropped into J-Lo. Hi-yo! Sorry, not sorry. I was not worried about Batman. I was like, all right, this should be cool. This should be cool, because DC, while their extended universe could use some work, especially compared to Marvel's, and it gets a lot of crap from comic book fans and stuff for the stuff they've messed up. I still enjoy watching Batman v Superman. I know it's trash, but I still enjoy it. I probably just pulled up my shirt. You all could see that. Let me take this second, in case, for anybody watching, please take the time to like the video and subscribe to the video and leave a comment and hit that bell, and you'll never miss a notification from my YouTube channel, Hyphen Universe, just in case you're watching it on there. And if you happen to run across this in podcast audio land, whatever podcast platinum form, whatever podcast platform you're listening to, please hit subscribe. If it's Apple Podcast, if it's Spotify, give me 5 stars. If you hate the show, write a review and I'll read it on here. We'll talk about it on here, okay? But give me 5 stars. I wasn't worried about Batman. And I watched the trailers. The trailers were cool. They look solid. I know people had doubts about the trailers, but I knew no matter what happened by the end of the day on March 6th, by the time that clock was at 11:59 on March 6th, I was going to have seen the Batman. I woke up at 10 on Sunday. Got to sleep in. I had my ticket for a noon showing by 11. I showered up, made the trek across town. I went to Hollywood because AMC was crazy booked. Made trek across town out to Regal. Hollywood Theater is what it says outside. It's Regal. Took my seat and was gripping the edge of my seat for damn near 3 hours, because the Batman is the best Batman movie that's ever been made. And I said it. I ain't scared to say it. I'm not going to spoil a damn thing. Not a word. I'm not going to talk about this characterization. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But I ain't going to spoil no plot. I ain't going to tell y'all what happened. I ain't going to do none of that. Because as much as I have been in the past an advocate of just talking about what has happened in the film and getting right to the business, I will not do that now. You need to go see the best Batman movie that has ever been made. If you care about a good movie, period, want to go see a movie, don't give 3 S's about Batman, but want to see a good movie, go see the Batman. And I'll tell you why. You know how me and Marcus, when we were talking about Dark Knight's 10-year anniversary, way back, again, it's in the archives. Go check it out. You can find that on hyphenpodcastgroup.com. You can find it there. You can go to podpage.com/hyphenation. All of that's in there. Or you can just scroll through your favorite podcast listening platform until you see the episode about Dark Knight. It's somewhere in the 80s, Mark Rob, I think. Because we covered Batman 89 in 2019. So it's somewhere in the 80s, I think, where me and Mark Rob talk about the Dark Knight. You know how in The Dark Knight, it doesn't feel like a superhero movie. It feels like a great movie with Batman in it. This one does the exact same thing. And the crazy thing is, as grounded and as realistic as The Dark Knight was, this film is even more grounded. And I don't know who I was saying this to. I think I was trying to tell Matt this the other day. But you know how like Batman 89, Batman Returns was kind of set. It wasn't present day, so it wasn't 1989, it wasn't 1991. It was, the cars were old, the technology was new, but they're kind of showing this city that was still like a 40s vibe, 40s, 50s vibe. And then even in the Dark Knight trilogy, it was more modern, obviously, but at the same time, it still felt like you weren't in present day. This movie puts you 2022 Gotham MF City. And this film is just as much of a love letter to Gotham City as I've ever seen in a Bat film. The Dark Knight was about Gotham City. But it was also about Harvey Dent. It was a Harvey Dent movie. It was definitely a Joker film. It was a Bruce Wayne / Batman film story. But this story is all about how my life got turned up so I couldn't help myself. It's all about how Gotham is essentially caving in on itself. We come into this film 2 years into Batman's career. So we don't have to see the pearls get broken. We don't have to see him learning like a la Batman Begins. We don't have to see an older Batman, which we got in Batman v Superman and Justice League. We see a young, not ready for prime time player Batman in this film. And Pattinson kills it as Batman and he kills it as Bruce Wayne. Because his Bruce Wayne isn't. I feel really Stephen A-ish with this passion. His Batman is not Playboy Bruce Wayne. Like you know how they alluded like to like Christopher Nolan alluded to Playboy Bruce, and like when Alfred's like, well, you know, you got to kind of make appearances and stuff if you're going to be running around the streets like a crazy person. And then that's when he bought the hotel that the models were swimming in the water display, the whatever you call it, the water feature. He's like, oh, I just bought this hotel, blah 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 blah. And he would put on the front, and of course the beginning of The Dark Knight when like he has the party, and then Joker shows up and threatens Rachel. And it, of course, he shows up, but he's just right behind the Joker and everything. So the Playboy does not exist yet. This Bruce Wayne literally is a recluse. Nobody sees this dude. He shows up. He comes out in broad day at one point, driving the car and everything. No drivers, anything like that. Comes out broad day and everybody's like, Bruce Wayne, blah, 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 blah. His dad, Thomas, was running for mayor in this movie. But Bruce Wayne is not the Playboy. He's still wounded by his parents' death, as Batman always is. But he's also a very hyper-aware Bruce Wayne. There's no playing with this dude. He's the Bat at night. He's Batman all the time. Bruce Wayne is something he has to do. I gotta do it. I love Christian Bale's Batman. I love Michael Keaton's Batman. I personally like Val Kilmer's Batman. I could take or leave Clooney's, and R.I.P. to the god Adam West, man. And I enjoyed Batfleck. I enjoyed Ben Affleck's portrayal too in Batman v Superman. I still haven't watched Justice League. Neither one of them. Sorry, not sorry. I loved Bruce Wayne and I loved Batman. He knocked both of those out of the park. And I'm going to leave Robert Pattinson right there. Kudos to you, sir. Thank you. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. Another piece of fantastic casting. And she was her own Catwoman. Like, of course, we all know Michelle Pfeiffer's ultra uber sexy Catwoman from Batman Returns. We know the Catwoman from the animated series. We know the Catwoman from the comic books when him and Bruce were, or her and Bruce were dancing around getting married, and they're together, and it was always this, will they or won't they? Or DC's like, they're going to bang on a roof. It's going to sell millions of copies. Yeah, that happened too. And even, why am I so terrible with names? Oh, hold on. Gosh. Even Anne Hathaway's portrayal of Catwoman in Dark Knight Rises. What is wrong with me? It was cool for what it was. She had a lot to do, but at the same time, she was still very contained within the Bane, Batman, Talia of it all, of Dark Knight Rises. Zoe Kravitz walks in right off the comic book page. It's got big Year One vibes from Batman. Go read that. It's got big Long Halloween vibes. Go read that. It's got all of the sultry sexiness you want from Catwoman, but it's not over the top. It's not so as over the top as Michelle Pfeiffer. Honestly, her character doesn't even try to be sexy. She doesn't. She's about what she's about. She puts her mind to something, she's going to do it. She doesn't care if Batman's in or not. And her portrayal of both Selina and her portrayal as Catwoman, A+. Don't know what the snap was. I really gotta stop doing that. Coke break. For those of you not watching the video, again, Coke Zero. I'm just gonna keep going down the list. Paul Dano as Edward Nigma. Oh, I'm sorry, Edward Nashton. Edward Nashton. What a weird Nashton. Nashton. As Edward Nigma, aka the Riddler. My man was shooting viral TikToks, man. He was doing TikToks about the foul stuff he was up to. It was so dope. It was so set in reality, man, because as effed up as this world is, as effed up as it is, with all the social media that causes us so much anxiety every day, most people so much anxiety every day, trying to, looking at Instagram and seeing those perfect poses and thinking, why isn't my life like that and everything? The fact that this criminal was using that to his advantage and really leaning into the social media in a Batman movie in 2022, spot on. Especially with this character, because he's not muscle. And he even says that at one point in this movie. He's not the physical character. His gifts are in his brain. That's his talent, not the muscles. So to see him rely on that, so dope. And let me tell you, every time that man dropped the riddle, guess who came up with the answer? Bruce. No problem. There was no, because if you remember 95 Batman Forever, like Val Kilmer Bruce had to think about it a little bit, and like some of them, he normally would get there, but there was like a brief pause to kind of show that he was struggling with it. Nah, Batman was on every one. He's like he really been like, it's this, it's this, it's this, it's this. It's like he studied the answers before the test. And even with it being about the Riddler, up until the final end of the movie, it's all up in the air, man. He's a credible threat throughout the film. So dope. And he lived. That's a little spoiler, but he's still around. Also, I tried to figure out where I knew Paul Dano from, and it turns out it was The Girl Next Door. Underrated teen comedy of the 2000s. Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon. I first came to recognition of who Jeffrey Wright was from the Hunger Games movies. And shame on me if I don't know his filmography better, man. I followed him all through while he tore down Donald's administration for years, and I'm sure he still is crusading on the for the good guys, so to speak. And I don't mean left, and I don't mean Democrat. I just mean for what's right, which a lot of people have a problem with. Oh, did I say that? It's Hyphen Nation. I say what I want. Dang, I'm on one. His portrayal, James Gordon. Again, he's not Commissioner Gordon. Not a bad thing, though. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm excited. Not a bad thing, though. His relationship with Batman, it's not the whole show up at the bat signal, this is wrong, he disappears, and then make a bad pun about him disappearing all the time. I think Batman does that to him once, and then another time Batman does it to another cop, but not to James. Him and James are literally damn near partners in this movie at times. And it's almost like they're best crime fighting friends, which is crazy. Best crime fighting friends. That's how they felt the whole time. There wasn't a second, even in the most dire situations, that James Gordon didn't believe Batman. He had the vigilantes back. He had vengeance's back. Also very cool that people weren't running around the whole movie calling him Batman. It was always vengeance, 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 you know. It wasn't Batman. Oh my God, Batman, you know. It was they did really well to, obviously he's the vigilante at Gotham City. He called himself Vengeance at the beginning of the movie, and in the whole movie, like even Catwoman was calling him Vengeance, 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 Vengeance. So apparently he'd been running around calling himself Vengeance for a minute. I mean, it makes more sense than a dude running around calling himself Batman. Especially 2 years in, you know? I mean, there's a headline or two that said Batman, and maybe some news reports. But Jeffrey Wright is incredible. John Turturro. Last time I think I thought about John Turturro was the Transformers movies, the original ones. So that would have been Dark of the Moon was the last one I watched. As Carmine Falcone. I personally think he should get a Best Supporting Actor nomination. I personally think that, I'm going to say right now, John Turturro should be up for Best Supporting Actor. I'm going to say it again. John Turturro should be up for Best Supporting Actor. And this film had 3 villains in it. 3 villains, which is crazy because we always say, oh, it's too many villains. They had 3 villains in it. Carmine was your ground level crime boss villain, you know, who was just always out of Batman's reach. And he was just so good in every scene. I keep saying that about everybody, but it's so true. Everybody was so freaking good. Turturro should be Best Supporting Actor nominated. Give him the nomination. Hold on, I got a phone call. Hello? Yeah, this is Kellen Conley. Yeah. I would love to nominate John Turturro for Best Supporting Actor in 2023. Thanks for asking. Would I have done that if I wasn't recording video? Who knows? Nobody knows. Andy Serkis is Alfred. I loved Andy Serkis. I don't mess with Lord of the Rings. I don't like it. Whatever. Good for everything he did for Lord of the Rings. Whatever. It's not for me. Not for me. And that's fine. I loved him as Claw, especially in Black Panther, Andy Serkis. To see what he brought to Claw, especially in Black Panther, and then see the subtle, warm, caring, yet resolved way that he played Alfred Pennyworth. Michael Caine's Alfred was really dope, but he might have some competition for real. Because we only got a small chunk of Alfred in this movie. Like, Alfred was helping with some of the puzzles and stuff. And I said that Batman solved the little riddles, but there were some puzzles that Alfred took the liberty of looking at before Batman. He was solving puzzles. He was running Wayne Manor. He was doing the books. He was He was a Mr. Do It All. And then they took and then he just had such a small part. I'm not going to spoil it, but he really didn't. He didn't factor into the finale of the film as much as you thought he would, and it actually works that he didn't because of how his journey throughout the film, and then what actually transpired from his journey, especially for Bruce / Batman. It works so well, but just in those brief scenes that he had, he was so good. So good. God. I got one more. I forgot he was this character. Oswald Cobblepot Penguin, played by Colin Farrell. Again, he wasn't in the movie as much as you thought he would be either. His journey throughout the film did not need him to be there at the end. Though he doesn't pop up at the end. And when you see it, because you're going to go see it after this, you'll understand why. I was completely lost in his character every time. DeVito's characterization of Penguin was just so comical and over the top. It was good, and it worked in the Burton Batverse. But this, again, this Penguin is ripped right out of Arkham City, out of Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Knight, those games, out of the animated series even. This is the Oswald Cobblepot that he has that the evolution that Tom has brought him to. Like, of course, like from the superpowers in the 80s, he was like the purple pants and the umbrella, and and we kind of got that characterization, except in more black in 91 and Batman Returns. But this is what the Penguin characters evolved to in 2022 after years and years of Bat continuity along with the animated series. This is the Oswald Cobblepot. We know this is the Penguin. And this is probably the best thing Colin Farrell's ever done. He might be up for supporting actor. I don't think he had enough screen time. But he's so good. I'm going to go see the movie again. Marcus has seen it twice already. I'm going to go see it again this weekend. And words cannot express. I've tried. Words can't express how good this film is. It's better than No Way Home. And No Way Home is an amazing movie for me because it's Spider-Man. And one last thing. I don't give enough respect to Batman on this pod. It's always been like a pro Spider-Man pod and then different characters. Batman's always been my number 2 guy, but at the same time, it's like Batman is always, it's like, who's your favorite superhero? I like Batman. I'm hitting my microphone. I like Batman. That's just the default answer. No one messes with Superman. Shout out to my man, Michael Bailey. You got to come on the pod, man. We got to talk. We ain't talked in years, bro. We got to talk, Michael Bailey. It's always default. Why do you like Batman? Because he's normal and his body is at peak Olympian, and he just goes out there and beats people up and he's so smart. Blah 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 blah. I tend to not get into my Batman fandom too much because it's the cool thing to do. Kind of like, and Eric will speak to this, and some Bane about how he feels about Wolverine, how everybody's like, yo, Wolverine's so cool, blah, 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 Wolverine, and of course he's been overexposed by Marvel and by the movies and stuff, so it's hard to see that to Wolverine there actually is a nuanced character in there. Most people don't see that. Nobody sees that. They just see the claws and, and him being in all the issues. And he's an Avenger. He's in Secret Defenders. He's in X-Men. This is my Wolverine dance. I don't know what I'm doing, but he's just everywhere. And Batman's the same thing. He's in Justice League. He's showing up over here. He's popping up in the Crypto movie, in the Super Pets movie, making jokes, talking to another dog who apparently is he's just so overexposed. But I love Batman more than anybody else that's not named Spider-Man. And the fact that this was a detective movie. There were toys, there was fighting, But the movie, The Batman that is, was so based on Batman's detective skills and his ability to figure out what the next move was going to be for the Riddler. And the fact that the plot was just constantly based on what Batman was going to find out, and the crime of it all. Oh, man. I love Batman. And I don't give him enough credit because I feel like it's played out. But I love Batman. This is my favorite Batman movie, bar none. I don't need to rewatch The Dark Knight to know. I don't need... Dark Knight was number one. I don't need to watch Batman 89 to know. This is the best Batman film of all time. The best Batman film of all time. One more time for the people in the back. This is the best live action and probably anime. I'm going to say all time because I'm not going to say Mask of Phantasm's better, and I don't know Batman's animated library like I would Spider-Man. This is the best Batman film of all time. Go get yourself a ticket, carve yourself out 3 hours, and watch a great movie. And a great Batman movie. I'm done. No spoilers, I did it! Woo!